All right, in this video, we want to find the equation of these quadratic functions, and we're given the x-intercepts and a point. So let's start with the first one over here. If you're ever given the x-intercepts, you always want to start with the equation y equals to a, x minus r, x minus s, basically the factored form equation. And the first thing you want to do is you want to replace your r and your s with your x-intercepts. So x minus -4 is just x plus 4, and then x minus 3. Then we want to sub in the point. And we want to solve for a. So 2 plus 4 is 6, and 2 minus 3 is -1. Then a times 6 times -1 is just -6a. Then I'll divide both sides by -6 to isolate a. So -7/6 is just my a value. And then all I have to do is rewrite my equation over here with the a value. So y equals -7/6, x plus 4, x minus 3. Sometimes your teacher will expect you to write this in function notation, so instead of using y, use f of x. But in this video, I'm just going to use y for all of them to simplify it. Let's try this second example over here. I'm going to use the same equation here. Y equals to a x minus 0, x minus 8. I subbed in my x-intercepts. Now, before I sub in my point, this equation can actually be simplified a bit. And before we sub it in, whenever you have a 0 as the x-intercept, you want to simplify first, because x minus 0 is just x. Then a times x is just ax times x minus 8. So we just want to use this simplified equation here. Do not look above this line for the rest of the problem. Going to sub in the point. So -6 equals to a, -3, -3 minus 8, -6 equals to a, -3, that's a -11. -6 equals to -3 times -11 is positive 33. And then I can divide both sides by 33. So I'll just get my a value to be -6/33 can be simplified. You can either do it in your calculator, or you can just divide them both by 3. You'll get -2/11. My final equation, I'm going to use the one below that line that I drew there, is y equals to -2/11 times x minus 8. Let's go to the third and fourth example here, which are now going to involve square roots. So it's a bit more difficult, but same steps. I'm just starting by subbing in my x-intercepts for my r and my s. So I have x minus √7 and x plus √7. Then whenever I have square roots, I want to simplify before I sub in my point, generally speaking, if it's possible. If the numbers are identical, you can always do it instantly as well. In this case, let me think. I should simplify it, just because these two numbers are identical, but the opposite, which makes this a difference of squares. Although you can actually just sub in the point, there should be no difference. I'll just sub in the point for this one. So 3 equals to a, -5 minus √7, -5 plus √7. Now you can multiply these two brackets in your calculator, and sometimes if your calculator gives you answers in terms of square roots, You can get the exact value, but I'm going to show the manual steps to do this because it's a bit important. So -5 times -5 is positive 25. -5 times positive root 7 is -5 root 7. Negative root 7 times -5 is plus 5 root 7. And negative root 7 times root 7 is just -7. These two middle terms are identical but opposite signs, so they cancel each other out. And 25 minus 7 is just 18. Divide by 18 on both sides. 3 divided by 18 is just 1/6. If you do this calculation in your calculator of multiplying these two brackets, you should get the same answer as me here as 18. But if your teacher requires you to show the steps, you should show this middle step. Then we finally just rewrite the equation y equals to 1/6 x minus root 7 times x plus root 7. Let's go to this final question here, which is probably the hardest one. We now have complex roots for the answers. So we'll start with the same thing, y equals to a, but over here you have to do double brackets because we have multiple terms for each x-intercept. So x minus and 1 plus root 2 has to be inside a bracket. Do not forget that, really, really important. And then over here, it's going to be x minus 1 minus root 2. The next thing we want to do is we want to distribute these negatives into the brackets to get rid of the double brackets. That's going to be x minus 1 and then minus root 2 because I'm multiplying the negative times both of these. And over here, it's going to be x minus 1 plus root 2. So negative times 1 is -1, and negative times negative is positive root 2. Once you've done this, do not look at the step above anymore. We're going to just use this equation for the rest of the question. I'm going to sub in the point as usual. So 4 equals to a, 2 minus 1 minus root 2, 2 minus 1 plus root 2. I'll combine like terms inside each bracket. So 2 minus 1 is just 1. And here 2 minus 1 again is just 1. Now we want to multiply out the two brackets. So again, you can either use your calculator or do it manually. I'm just going to do it manually. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times root 2 is root 2. Negative root 2 times 1 is negative root 2. And negative root 2 times root 2 is just -2. Now I'll combine like terms. These two just cancel because same things but opposite signs. 1 minus 2 is -1. And then I can divide by -1 on both sides. So I'll just get a equals -4. I'm going to rewrite this equation below the line with my a value. So y equals to -4 x minus 1 minus root 2 x minus 1 plus root 2. If you made it to the end of this video and you found this content helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button as it really, really helps my channel. Thank you for watching.